So we're back in Hawling. Well, we're not quite. We've left Hawling as it is today, but we are in Hawling as it was 1,000 years ago, Hawlinga, and we're still in the wooded half of the Saxon estate, and there's much more to say about that, but I'm not going to start off with that. So the charter, the bit, the wood, the portion, the pertinent woodland of the estate is in a second charter, and it starts Arrest of Chram Brokes Forda, and that means Chram is tricky. It can be raven, it can be ramsons, which is bear garlic, and it can actually be a post. Now, it's too early in the season to see any bear garlic. I am on the lookout for ravens. But most of all, the best thing about it is because we've triangulated where all the, see my previous videos, the last two videos, because we've triangulated where all the landscape points are, we can name this river as it was 1,000 years ago, and that is the Ravens Brook, or the Bear Garlic Brook.
Now that's all fine and dandy, apart from the fact that the locals seem to call this the Windrush, and I don't think it is the Windrush. The Windrush divides in several places getting here, and I think the Windrush is another one of the divisions. But it gets even more complicated. Well, we don't know whether Chram comes out as rams, ramsons, or ravens, and B, there's a third name for it. I'm studying Caslet Wood. there used to be a medieval village called Castlet, and that village, its oldest name, means the wooded valley, the slad of the cats. So we might have three.
Now in the second charter it talks of Ramkum, which is the same thing, but it's lost the H, and as in a previous video I talked about that a bit. We don't like putting those H's and R's together. But then it goes along, it says go down to the slad. This is a slade, which is a wooded valley, you can see it behind me. But that's not the slad it was talking about, which is further on, leading to the next boundary marker, which is Badger Slad, which is Badger's Slade, and that's on the map here today. So we can see the estate, the extent of the woodland in this area would have been quite big, double the size it is today, because of what it says in the charter. So it says, as I've gone over before, I've said go over the Salt Strat, the Salt Street Saltway, and then go along the Wood Evers, the Wood Eaves. So that means a little bit further to the south is the boundary of the woodland, and then it tells us to go north. And we're going through woodland. It can't have been that thick, because it says to look out for the odd boundary apple tree and things like this. So there must be some way of seeing said boundary apple tree. But then it says later on to something along the lines of Utwudu or Utwude, so out of the woodland, wander around a bit. And then it says, it talks about the wood eaves again, the wood of Erves, which means from the extent all the way down at Roll Gate below there, all the way up to the top, to the end of the where the Saltway meets the road going down to Winchcombe, pretty much is woodland, is old forest. And if it was there 1,000 years ago, you can be sure it's been there since the climate change last. This is a B road today, and you wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, look, this is a road that you can take a car down, and it looks no different on the map from any other road, which is extraordinary, because it looks like something out of the Middle Ages. But look, it's all cobbled. So we've gone from quite old woodland, traditional English wood of oak and ash and hazel, and this is I mean, it's 100 years old, I would have thought, maybe less. The land needs to be worked. It is woodland is a resource. and what was proper British English woodland is now a commodity, a proper commodity. But you can hardly blame them if you, it would take 50 years to get a profit out of this, and 200 years to get a profit out of oak, so you can't blame them. Oh my God, swine pannage. That's a medieval site. So instead of an electric fence, there would have been either a properly laid hedge that would be swine proof. Swine is swin in Old English. Or there would have been hurdles, whatever, that would have kept kept those pigs in. It looks like an old breed as well, nice and hairy. But look at that. But they'll do you a service. Isn't he gorgeous? Hello, darling. Hello, Mister. Mrs. They're so intelligent, pigs. They'll do you a service. They'll dig out all the roots. They'll dig out all the brambles. Roots of the brambles. And then you can move them on to a different area of the wood. They'll eat acorns, so your oak trees can grow oak trees for wood. You can't eat the acorns, but your pigs can eat the acorns, and then you can oink, oink. We're now high up here, and it's ash and hazel, and a bit of beech, and some coppicing going on. We've got some hazel coppicing. We need to look at the context. We've done the river, we've done the woods, we've got, what about the roads? This is leading on from what Paul Whitewood was saying in his last video about ley lines. What are the real links between important places in the landscape? And those links are geographical, and they're politically economic links. So that is, mills are put on riverbanks. They need roads to get them out of the wet and the mud, to get their products to market or to the local lord or whatever, up onto ridges which have roads, and those roads are linked nationally and internationally to markets. A prime candidate for that, a very easy to explain one, is the Saltway. That is mentioned three times in the no, it's mentioned twice in the charters of Hawling, Saltstrata, and it is a road that goes from Droitwich down to Lechlade, and then one antiquarian said it goes down to Hampshire. No, you're now on the Thames. It's going to go to London, possibly even international trade, and then. So that is a commodity. That's not subsistence farming. That is international. That is at least national trade. And we've got. So that's the Saltway, and it's a Roman road because A, it's pretty straight, and B, it has that word strat in the Saxon charters. There's another strat very close to here. So the boundary of the field part of the Hawling charter says go south from Litland Berge or Berge, which is the Little Barrow, and that, I think I might know where that might be. It goes south across the Turkendine. So remember my Turkdene videos. Well, in the Turkdene charter, there is a strat, again, another Roman road. Now that's not straight. What that is a road that follows the top of the hills going from A to B, avoiding all water channels of all sorts, all mires, all marshes, all streams, all wells, all springs, whatever. So that's a classic ridgeway, and the word strat, certainly Professor G.B. Grundy thinks that's because they were Romanized, they were paved, but they took the course of Iron Age roads. And what other roads we have? We have the Greenan Way, which is in this charter. It's also in the charter of Gitting. We're in Gitting Wood now, but in the Saxon period this was in, I'm pretty sure it was in Hawling. But the Gitting has its own charter, and it talks a Greenan Way. So we can take that A point and the B point in Hawling and draw a line between them and work out which road it is. And I think it's this one here. So that's the Greenway, the Saltway. We have the Portway. I think we have two portways because it says the northmost portway, so that suggests there's a southmost portway. It might be these two up here. I suspect the northmost one is this one here. And so we have these lovely old road names in this one parish, which is a very enjoyable concurrence for people like us trying to show how important sites like Roman villas and barrows and all sorts are joined up in the landscape. They're joined up by geography.